right, to discuss further the developments in the Middle East and what Israel is saying and other observations, we cross live to our Israel correspondent in Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates. A very good afternoon, Sarah. A lot of activity reported overnight or the early hours of this morning. What are you hearing in Tel Aviv?
Certainly a lot of activity, no official statement from the Israelis yet, and it is very unlikely that we will actually hear anything from the Israeli establishment. It is not its policy to comment on such incidents. The most senior person that we have heard from is the National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. He posted on X one word, and that is lame. Now, he is being slammed right around Israel for that tweet. The opposition leader, Yair Lapid, he's come out to say that never before has a minister in the security cabinet done such heavy damage to the country's security, to its image and to its international status. Now, one other thing that we have been hearing here in Israel has been from the IDF, from the military. It's given advice to the public saying that nothing has changed. And really, you can see that on the ground if you put it into comparison today compared to last Friday, before that unprecedented attack, which took place, of course, on Saturday. Last Friday, people were extremely panicked. They were out buying things like generators. They were withdrawing large amounts of money, and they were stockpiling food and water. But if you go for a walk around today, especially here in Tel Aviv where I am standing, the beaches are packed, people are out at restaurants and cafes, and it really is business as usual.
There's been talk that there are a lot of Israeli people who don't want Mr. Netanyahu to be in power. They've been calling for his head, and others alleging that he continues to make these maneuvers like striking Iran and so on, you know, striking the Damascus embassy, the embassy in Damascus, in order to maintain power and stay in power against the will of the Israelis. What's the feeling on the ground? Has this garnered him more support or less?
Well, Netanyahu is in a very difficult position right now. On one hand, he has to appease the far right wing in his coalition. We're talking here like Itamar Ben-Gvir that I just mentioned, also Bezalel Smotrich. He's really clinging to power, with the latest polls showing that if indeed an election were to be held today, that Netanyahu and his ruling Likud party would lose, and that the War Cabinet member Benny Gantz, he's a former defence minister, that he would win an election. You did mention these protests are continuing, people calling for Netanyahu's head over his handling of this war in Gaza, and also his inability, really, you could say, to bring back these 130 or so hostages. But really, when we're talking about this alleged Israeli strike this morning in Iran, before this, the general consensus after Saturday's unprecedented attack in Israel, the general consensus was there had to be a response, that no country can simply fire some 300 ballistic missiles and drones into Israel without paying for that. So certainly, while there is a very divided public here in Israel over Netanyahu, there was a fairly unified position that something had to be done.
Sarah, thank you so much for your insights there. Sarah Coates, she's our correspondent reporting from Tel Aviv.